It is I, Christopher Saul, and your boy Paul Schoberg, just telling you about the news, telling you about the stuff. How you doing, Paul?
Doing better than I deserve, man. Thanks for asking. So good to be on the show with you. We missed last week due to my travel, so
All right.
I'm
Well,
glad we're here.
my guy had a good time on his escapades to places and parts unknown, and I think that it was good because, it, you know, football didn't go very well for either of us. Um, SMU lost, Florida lost, Niceville lost. It's really just a really bad weekend. I mean, TCU canceled the series between TCU and SMU, so we don't ever have to play them again. So that's nice because I don't have to go to Fort Worth ever again. But it also kind of stings that it's over and it's permanent.
Yeah, football season is definitely hurting for me, both because of Niceville and of the Florida Gators. But man, that Niceville loss was a bit brutal, huh?
It was so just going back in the data. Worst loss since the 2018 loss to Austin Westlake out of Texas. 66-6, I believe, was the final in that one. I haven't found a home loss where we've had a running clock in the data for last quarter century. So yeah, tough loss. But they didn't quit. They got a touchdown there at the end. So I'll take it. Yeah, man.
Well, listen, we knew it was going to be a rebuilding year for Niceville. We weren't sure how it was really going to end up. We got a young quarterback. We got a young team in general. And so we're just going to have to see how this plays out over the next couple of years. I think the key thing is that we have to continue to be Niceville. We can't be mean to the coaches, and we definitely can't be mean to the kids.
Yeah, first of all, they're kids. So word of mouth, you've been warned. And yeah, it sucks, but I think it's better. I keep telling people, and I know this sounds like the moral victories kind of thing, but I think I would love to do a story in which I go back and like check the arrest records after 10 years for like each team and see who has the lowest arrest records. Cause I feel like that's like the real mark of a successful high school football program is like how few arrests. So like, for example, whoever's the opposite of the University of Georgia wins. Because obviously we'll give them whatever the opposite of the Fulmer Bowl is. If you remember the Fulmer Bowl from back in the day.
I do.
Right on.
But good thing is we got other things to talk about today.
Yes. 4 big things that we're going to get through real quick. My colleague and yours, Collin Bester, had a 25-minute interview with Jimmy Patronis that we're going to release later today. I'll tease that a little bit, tell you kind of what they talked about. Charlie Kirk protest and rally in Fort Walton Beach happened yesterday as we're recording this live, so Sunday in the evening. I'll give you some of the details. We haven't put that story out just yet, so you're going to be getting it first here, but I'm not going to tell you too much because, I mean, I want you to go and read it. And then the 492nd Wing is going to Arizona. Tell you what and why and how and who and all the hijinks behind that I've gotten from the scuttlebutt and on our story. And then finally, I'm not going to get run over while I'm running on Saturday mornings, and I'm really excited about that. I've been dodging the bullet for the last, 5 years. So I'm excited about that. So let's get into it. But before we get into it, let me tell you about my attorney and potentially yours, Lisa Patel. Lisa can help you with all of your needs, legal, I wouldn't say or otherwise, because she specializes in the law, being a lawyer. And so if you need contracts, wills, trusts, estate plans, everything, Lisa Patel is your gal. You can find her at lyp-law.com, or you can just Google her because she is the first Lisa Patel that comes up, which I think is awesome. So she's number 1 in her search results and number 1 in our hearts here at Paul N Saul. So thank you so much, Lisa, for sponsoring this. And if you need legal help, Lisa Patel is the person you want to talk to. First things first, Jimmy Patronis, we got to interview him Friday afternoon, and we asked him about a bunch of stuff, everything from, local news to the Epstein files. I think Collin got a piece of. He talked a lot about this Charlie Kirk shooting that we're going to talk about in this other story in a minute. So we covered some national stuff, but mostly local stuff, things that matter here locally. But Paul, as a guy who has not seen this interview, what are you hoping to hear from the congressman just in general? What do you want to know from him?
Well, obviously he's relatively new in his role, so I want to hear how he plans to help our area become even better than what it already is. But honestly, like big ups to Mid Bay News. This is a pretty good get for an interview, man. Like that is so awesome. I mean, I think if anything, that's a feather in your cap to being recognized as journalists who are being noticed in the area and who are supplying huge value. So I can't wait to see the interview. Jimmy Patronis, that's a huge get. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I want to brag on my boy for a minute, Collin Bester. This is actually his second interview with Jimmy Patronis, and he already has a third one scheduled for December. So if you've got questions, Collin, 2Ls, at midbaynews.com is where you would put them. Hey, Collin, I want to know this from Jimmy Patronis. We put out a post on Thursday last where we asked, hey, what do you want to know? And a bunch of people asked questions, including 99 Rock's own Kevin McKay asked if he wanted to know if Jimmy Patronis knew Kevin McKay. And we got an answer because we do the hard hitting journalism as well as the fun stuff here at Mid-Bay News. And so we got a little information about Kevin McKay from Jimmy Patronis. Should be a lot of fun. Expect that interview to come out. It's about 1:15 right now. So expect it before 5 o'clock. We've got video. We've got a written story that's going to come out. We've got a ton of clips where he answers a bunch of questions. So expect all that stuff to be littered on our social media throughout the next week as we get into that. But the thing I want to talk about next is something that Jimmy Patronis talked a whole lot about in this interview, and that is the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, of course, very famous in the zeitgeist. Everybody pretty much knows who he is. Right of center, conservative podcast slash. I've heard people call him like a missionary. Lots of different names for this guy. A lot of titles, names. His name is Charlie. Lots of different titles. People saw him as, but they had a big old rally for him yesterday in Fort Walton Beach. Peaceful rally. Talked to Collin about this again. Collin's been busy this weekend. In addition to football and talking to Jimmy Patronis, he went to this rally. First things first, it was peaceful. Nobody fights, no arrests, nothing like that. Took place Sunday evening. He said it was a little bit smaller than a couple of other rallies that have taken place down at the landing. Let's see. Oh, video and transcript, Collin says, live coming in at 3 p.m. So here in about an hour and a half, you'll be able to see that whole thing on Jimmy Patronis for yourself. So we're excited about that. But the big takeaways from this rally yesterday, a lot of people cared about Charlie Kirk here locally, and it was peaceful. No riots or nobody got arrested. No bad stuff happened. So always good to see people gathering in large groups and not doing any violence.
Yeah, I was super happy to see that for certain, and obviously Charlie did mean a lot to a lot of people. And over the weekend there was the large event in Arizona that had supposedly over 100,000 people there. So I think it's great that we had some local representation in our own little rally here locally to support him in his mission. And we don't always get super political on this podcast, but I believe in everyone's right to come home alive, whether it's kids going to school or whether it's a mom and dad going to work. Everybody should be able to come home to their families. And so I say prayers for everyone who's lost a parent or a loved one to gun violence.
Yeah, it's awful, man. And it's good to see that people were able to go out and protest or rally, whatever word you want to use for this. I would say it's more of a rally than a protest, but I could be mistaken. I can't speak for them because I wasn't there. But the gathering was peaceful, which is always good. And you'll have to see more. Collin's putting that story up this afternoon, but he does the full recap. He talks about everything from I believe he talks about like the number of people that were armed at the thing. So we know, as you know, we have this new open carry law here in the state of Florida. So a lot of people were open carrying at that. There were a lot of different facets to this rally that I think were really interesting for the general public to know, just how people are reacting to this death, but also how people are reacting to changes in laws in the state of Florida as well. So I'm looking forward to that piece, which I believe is coming out this afternoon. Moving to the 492nd Wing. So the 492nd, this is really interesting to me because they have taken 600 jobs that are billeted for Duke Field. And for those who are uninitiated, Duke Field is this big special operations air base that is to the east of 85 on your way to Crestview if you're going to Niceville. And so they've moved 600 jobs, which is of the 10,000 that are billeted at Hurlburt Field, which is what Duke is under. I mean, it's 6% of people that are moving. And they're moving because for a lot of reasons, but they feel like the training base over there at Davis-Monthan in Tucson, Arizona is ideal for what they need. They're moving a lot of people out of Clovis. And from what I've heard from the scuttlebutt from active duty airmen that I know, basically special operations was losing a ton of people after they would get PCS to Clovis for Cannon Air Force Base. And I don't know how many people know about this, but Clovis, the worst. I used to live out in West Texas, and yeah, Clovis is not a fun place to live, work, or generally stay for any period of time. They do have a Dairy Queen, but that's about what I can say positive about Clovis, New Mexico. And so the Air Force was like, oh my gosh, nobody wants to live here. And because it's so bad, they're just like, I don't want to be in the Air Force anymore. What if we just like didn't do that to people? And so they're having a big shift from Clovis over to Davis-Monthan. But part of that with the 492nd means that a lot of jobs are getting moved over there as well. This means 600 people plus their families. So 1,200 potentially workers, lots of children moving out that way. This can have a huge economic impact on our area. And it's, a part of it also that I've been told is that the congressional representation for South Arizona needed to make sure they had their federal jobs not get taken away permanently once the A-10 is finally retired. And boy, howdy, I guess we lost that one, huh?
Well, I mean, I guess here's what I look at that. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I would guess that more missions have come here than have left here.
Yeah.
So, it's a growing area for the military. It's always sad when we have folks leave, especially, this sizable number. But things change within the military, groups move around. I think we have been more of a beneficiary of that than a detriment historically. So sorry to see those folks go. But it is good size, but it isn't it's not significant. There's other groups that are much larger.
Yeah. So on the net, we've definitely benefited, but seeing this many people go off, I mean, I do think we'll see a short-term hit, right? Like everything from the housing market, you're going to have physically more inventory to those 600 airmen have spouses and kids that might work. You might see, purchasing power go down in the area because, I mean, we are so militarily dependent, which I personally think is an issue, right? Like I think that having an over reliance on one economic driver can be a huge issue, which is why I'm excited for the Shoal River Ranch expansion with Williams International, that turbine engine factory that's going to be in here, hopefully bring new and diverse jobs that are somewhat related to the military, but not necessarily intertwined in a way where if, the Defense Department or the War Department or whatever decide to move to Kansas tomorrow, we're sunk. Right. And so that's unlikely, but I like to have that diversification, right? You don't just buy one stock.
Yeah. The fact that the whole wing is moving is not great for the area, that's for certain. But we're also not in the know, so maybe next week we'll hear about an even larger wing moving here. So
I mean, it's all fun and games until they rebase Air Combat Command here, and the ghost of whatever the name of that Valparaiso mayor was, Bruce Arnold, like rolls around in his grave as all the jet engines are like coming in for a landing. We'll see. But yeah, last and probably my favorite story that we had last week, the multi-use path that I have long awaited on Forest and College. So if you're a runner or a bicyclist, that going up north or south on Forest is a little bit dangerous. People are moving pretty quickly, and it's a main route for people to get from one place to the other, especially College. And so they're using money that they've gotten from different places to build a multi-use path for walkers, runners, bicyclists to use instead of being on the shoulder of the road. And so for guys like me that are running early in the morning, I'm really excited about this, especially as it gets darker, because it means safety.
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, with the growing, we all know in Niceville specifically that Deer Moss Creek is going to be the area for growth. This location needed something for a very long time. Lots of people have been complaining about it. It's county owned and it's not city owned. So people complaining to the city about it, Niceville was shrugging and saying it's not ours. We can't do anything about it. But it's huge. So 50% of the $1.7 million cost for this is coming from an FDOT grant. So it's coming from the state level. And then the other 50% is coming from the infrastructure surtax that we get from, everybody coming here to visit. That half-cent infrastructure surtax is helping on this project for the other 50%. So,
and not for nothing, but $1.7 million is a lot of money.
Sure.
You can't just like raise that, is what I'm saying. Like you can't have like a couple like bake-offs and then put this money together. So this is a really big piece of the puzzle that's been needed for a long time that we couldn't just like, fix by ourselves as a city. To give people an idea, our city budget is like 50, 60 million bucks. I'd have to go check. I can't remember what I wrote in the story. But that's, it's 2% of our entire budget.
Well, and they're not going to spend it on a county road.
Exactly.
So it wasn't going to happen anyway. But I think what people need to realize is like these jurisdictions are working together. The multi-use paths are coming. The city of Niceville did one down Palm, which I happen to drive on Palm, nearly every day, and I'm seeing kids use it all the time. And bicyclists and runners and people pushing strollers with either dogs in it or little humans in it. So they're getting use. They're important. They're sort of long overdue. And the county has helped with this one, and the city has plans for some future ones. So the Niceville area is going to be much more walkable, runnable, bikeable in the future.
Perfect. Well, guys, that is all we have for you this week. It's been a little bit of a light show. We've kind of been running around crazy. We got some big stuff coming up, including that Patronis interview, including that Charlie Kirk story. So stay with us. Midbaynews.com is where you can find all of our stuff. And Just a Guy Paul Schoberg is not just a guy to me. He's my awesome co-host, and I appreciate him being on today.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who's watching live, and thanks, Christopher. I'm glad that we're back on the show together, and we're going to get back in a rhythm. So I apologize for being gone last week.
No worries. And before we leave, hat time.
Yeah, so I'm wearing a hat from Marcon Solutions. Marcon Solution actually purchased my IT company last year, so I am now a part owner in Marcon Solutions. And they gave me this really cool hat to wear on the show. They do IT services for the federal government. Sometimes the Jason Bournes and Jack Ryans of the world, other times Department of Defense. And so I'm looking forward to being part of the Marcon family. And they gave me this cool hat to wear today.
But most importantly, do you have any Department of Ag or other like niche clients? Because I want to know if you have like the Department of like weights and measures, like on, that would be like really cool. Anyway.
No, we do Department of State. We do have some White House stuff, but we're trying to stay Doge proof,
I feel you. Well, RIP and peace to the Ag Department. We loved you, and we hope that our corn subsidies continue so that we don't have to buy corn, wheat from wherever. I don't know. We're not going to get into foreign policy on the Paul N Saul show, especially when it comes to grain futures, because no one cares.
That's right. Not around here anyway.
Anyway, love you guys. See y'all later.